Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Twins Off Daily podcast. It's an off daily live stream tonight. I am your host for tonight's episode, Sweet Lou Hennessy. How the heck are you, Twins territory? It is hot. It is hot in the Twin Cities, not just because of the muggy weather outside, but because of the hot stove, baby. It is starting to get hot here. And we are ready to talk about the trade deadline action as it approaches, which is coming up just a week from today, Monday, August 3rd, 5 p.m. Central Time. We'll see what happens between now and then. But for right now, we have Mr. Theo Tollefson from Zone Coverage, beat writer extraordinaire. What is going on, Theo?
I mean, I seem to be retaining my title of the most frequent guest on the show. I think that's what's going on.
I think we've been paying you more than we've been paying Cody lately.
That wouldn't surprise me. I think I might be approaching on his all-time.
You're getting there. You're getting
payments,
there.
Yeah.
Hopefully Cody can join us in a little bit. Greg is out for today. So in their absence, our walk-off question for today's episode is, what should the Twins Off Daily podcast be looking to acquire at the trade deadline this year? What is this show missing? What do we need? Please let us know in the comments what you think we should be looking to acquire, and what do you think it's going to cost? Cody to be named later. I don't know what it could be. One of Greg's size 24 shoes. I don't know. It could be pretty exciting. So let us know what you think. What should the Twins Off Daily podcast acquire between now and the trade deadline? But hey, trades are on the menu right now, boys and girls. It has been a whirlwind of rumors lately. It has been a lot of fun talking about what could happen. Are the Twins going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? Are they going to be somewhere in between? Theo, we were in the press box together the other day, and we were just talking about some of the needs that this team has. According to you, what do you think is most important that the Twins accomplish at this year's trade deadline, if anything?
Get two higher leverage relievers. I wouldn't say high leverage for sure, because who knows who's going to be available and what you're able to get, and then get a middle of the rotation guy, especially given the Joe Ryan news that we had covered on Saturday.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's still just arm fatigue. He's scheduled to throw on Wednesday, but we will see what happens, because Joe Ryan doesn't have the best history of durability in the second half of the season.
Very true.
Taj Bradley has been great. Bailey Ober, he's a stable force. Zebby Matthews is still up and down. Who knows how long until they have to shut down Connor Prelip. So you definitely need to add a starter into your mix no matter what here. So that's where I'm sitting. No offense is needed to be added on, and I think that could lead into something you were bringing up to me earlier, unless you got something else first.
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, I mean, pitching should be, if they are going to be diving in as buyers, even if they're not necessarily buying in strictly for the 2026 season here, it could be that, they could be looking for some longer term assets. You know what I mean? Like maybe they go out and pull a trade for somebody who's controlled through 2027, 2028. Of course, it's going to come with a higher price tag probably, but there's plenty of options out there. You mentioned some high leverage relievers, and also some maybe mid-rotation starter being kind of on the menu here. Those teams generally have to pay a little bit of a premium at the trade deadline. Could you see the Twins being a little apprehensive about doing that, or do you think that they're going to be like, you know what, we got some good assets now. The stove is hot. It's time for us to plunge in. What do you think?
The one place they can trade away from this deadline is definitely the catcher depth, especially when you draft Von Lackey third overall. I mean, it definitely puts a lot of stability for the future between him, Eduardo Tait, Kadeem Dow at AA, Enrique Jimenez. I mean, those are four guys coming up the ranks right now, and I think if you need to pay premium, with who you have in the top 5 or top 7, depending on how they rank out, I think Tait is the one on the offensive side you could probably make a case to deal away, just because you've got Von Lackey, who already told us when we met with him on Friday, like he is expected to be at Cedar Rapids before the year's over, and probably after just a couple weeks at Fort Myers after he gets ramped up on baseball activities. So I think if you're going to pay a premium, that's where you got to deal from.
Yeah, there might be something to that. A lot has changed in the last year since the Twins acquired Eduardo Tait. They arguably, drafted 2 catchers that are ahead of him on the depth chart, or that will be by the end of the season here, and are likely closer to the big leagues, and in the form of, like you said, Von Lackey and Carson Tinney. right? That's the
Yeah.
second catcher that they drafted. Yeah, both those guys, exciting bats. Eduardo Taillon, he's starting to pick it up. He's had kind of, if I'm not mistaken, right? I mean, he's still 19 years old, a lot to like, but I don't know, man. All right, we're gonna pop into the comments here. We have some love for Where's Comrade Cody. The only good
Runny
episodes are
late as
Comrade
usual.
Cody episodes.
I mean, if you want Comrade Cody, you're probably gonna have to wait until 15 to 20 minutes from now. So
yeah,
that's just how it usually goes.
We'll see. Maybe he'll stream from his car again. He's done that before.
Oh yeah.
We have, you do know that you just gave the justification to do a player sell off and finish the rebuild. Did we? Did we do that?
I don't know. I don't think we really did, but okay.
Breadline a little long today. Okay, that's for Cody. All right. We love it. Okay, here we go. We put out a call for some mock trades from audience members. We had some people send in some ideas, but before we get to them, Dan Hayes actually shared this earlier today. Who is it? Jim Bowden from MLB Network. He's a former GM. I think he was the GM of the Washington Nationals like 15 years ago or something like that.
Back in the day, yeah.
He's still putting out some ideas out there. He had an idea for a trade that was Ryan Jeffers going to the New York Yankees, and in return, the Twins getting shortstop Anthony Volpe and reliever Camilo Doval. Camilo Doval was recently a high leverage arm. I think that the Yankees were probably hoping that he would do that again this year. It hasn't gone well for him. I want to say he has like a 4.75 ERA, a few more years of club control. I want to say Volpe I think he probably has 4 or 5 years of club control. Ask New York Yankee fans how they feel about Anthony Volpe. It's going to be a pretty mixed bag. He was a former top prospect. He's got some good speed, some good pop. His defense at shortstop has been, let's just say, hit or miss, to say the least. Theo, what would you think about that proposal for Ryan Jeffers going to the New York Yankees for the rest of this season?
Well, Jim Bowden doesn't really have a reputation of doing his homework on some trade proposals here or whatnot. So I would say that's definitely not going to happen. You're not going to, I mean, Jeffers is going to be, I think, the one piece that is possibly going to be moved at this deadline in terms of selling, because catcher's a premium position. He's playing it super well. The Twins catching depth between Caratini and Jackson are great. He's a free agent at the end of the year, and you just drafted the top draft catcher in this draft class. So
yeah,
I mean, it's hard not to make the case, but yeah, you're not selling it for 2 major leaguers. You're selling it for talent. And if you're going to move Ryan Jeffers at this deadline, you better be getting some actual pitching prospect in return who could be a back end of the rotation or turn into a high leverage reliever. And if you want to get that, the other American League East team that looks all but certain to make the postseason this year, the Rays, definitely have a better package of what you could get in their farm system compared to what the Yankees have, both on their major league roster and, some of their farm system as well. So I think, this is just, let's dump the Yankees' bad assets for the top catcher available at the trade market. Let's get out of here. Come on.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know. The Tampa Bay Rays, I hear that they're pretty scared about working on trades with the Minnesota Twins after getting fleeced with Joe Ryan and Taj Bradley. We're building our whole rotation off of former Rays here, but hey, I wouldn't be above it.
They really need a catcher, so we'll see if they're willing to pay the price.
They need a catcher. They're usually a team that likes to wheel and deal. It feels like they've been searching to trade for a big bat for the last few years too. I know they've developed some really awesome middle of the order, good offensive numbers, guys in there, but it seems like they're always in the mix for, you hear that they wanted to sign Freddie Freeman randomly. You hear that they like Ryan Jeffers. You hear that they're always kind of a name at the trade deadline when they're in contention. And it'd be fun to get those two teams in a little bidding war with each other. That could be a lot of fun. I don't know. Big leaguer for big leaguer trades just are less common than we like to think too, is another thing. You know what I mean? As far as this Jeffers for Volpe and Camilo Doval, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by the idea of a Ryan Jeffers for a pretty good reliever. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody under club control for a couple of years who could reasonably slot in with Andrew Morris and Yoendris Gomez, if not a little bit ahead of them in the depth chart. You know what I mean? I had a prediction a couple episodes ago where I said I thought that the Twins were going to have 3 additional players get saves this year, and so far they had Anderson get one. I need this trade acquisition to get another. Maybe they get a couple arms, and I can boost that over the edge here.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. Anyway, yeah, like you said, there's a reason that Jim Bowden's a former GM, and sometimes his ideas get a little bit out there. But it's going to be really interesting with Ryan Jeffers, man. And I think Greg has brought it up on this podcast, and I've brought it up that we are very pro extending him the qualifying offer after this year, especially with all the talk that Tom Pohlad has had about, wanting to incrementally add to the payroll here and add to it. That's a good way to do it. You know what I mean? To pay 20, it's going to be probably like $23.5 million for a 1-year deal. And the qualifying offer, if he were to accept it, that's a price that I think I would be willing to pay for 1 year of a Ryan Jeffers, who's been really important to this team and really important to the clubhouse. You know what I mean? Like if they're going to be adding payroll, that's a good way to do it, especially because there's no sure thing that you're going to go out there in a free agent market and lure somebody in just with the monetary aspect of a contract. And you know what? That goes to Don Quixote's ghost here. How about you grow a backbone and call out Tom Pohlad for not investing in the team like he promised? Oh man, Theo, next time we're chumming it up with Tom Pohlad, we'll make sure to call him out, right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Grow backbone, and we want accountability, Lou. Yes, accountability, Lou. I'm going to change my Twitter moniker to accountability, Lou. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? So this is from Don Quixote's Coast too. Speaking of Ryan Jeffers, he says going to the Yankees for one of their better starting pitching prospects, Ben Hess and Elmer Rodriguez. I want to say that Elmer Rodriguez is a Double-A pitcher. I'd have to look it up, but anyway, these two guys are not major leaguers yet. That's honestly a pretty realistic package, I would say. You know what I mean? I think Hess, I'm going to pull up, producer Lenny here is going to do a little research and look up the Yankees farm system. But I would be intrigued about adding a couple arms because it seems like for how much they have in the depth chart when it comes to their position players all over the field, outfield, infield, they've got a lot of guys on this depth chart coming up in the upper levels of the minor leagues. The pitching side is a little more barren, right?
Yeah.
What would you think about getting those 2 arms from the New York Yankees in a deal for Jeffers if they were to sell them?
It's a much better hypothetical than Jim Bowden put out there, so I will give you that, Don Quixote's ghost. No, I think the starting pitching depth at between Double-A and Triple-A right now, it's really just like Riley Quick and a bunch of guys on the Travis Adams plan of 4 days, 4 innings, 65 pitches. So yeah, I appreciate that one a lot more. That's a much better return of what you need. And if one of those 2 guys can stick as a starter, the other sticks as a reliever, that's a great outcome for trading away Ryan Jeffers. Okay, so Fangraphs coming into this year, Elmer Rodriguez was their number 2 overall prospect, starting pitcher with an ETA of 2026. A future value scouting grade of 50 on the 20 to 80 scale. 50 as a future value for a prospect. Pretty solid, pretty good. We like that. Ben Hess was their number 5 prospect, Double-A starting pitcher, 45 plus future value. So, 2 pretty decent arms. Hess is 23, Rodriguez is 22. Might kind of line up with some of the the nucleus of position players that they have coming up. That could work pretty well if they were to trade Ryan Jeffers away. Again, I think my ideal situation would be that they offer him the qualifying offer and either get a solid draft pick if he goes elsewhere, or they have a really good starting caliber catcher for 1 year on a $23 million deal. And if things don't go well by mid next season, he's on the trade block again. And we can do this whole song and dance once again. All right. Behold a man, friend of the pod. He says willingness to trade Tyit Plus for someone like Reed Detmers of the Los Angeles Angels. I don't know what to think of Detmers. Every once in a while, I'll be watching one of his games and I'll be like, this is one of the best pitchers I've ever seen. And then I'll watch again the next week. I'll be like,
PU, this guy, what the heck? But I don't know. Maybe that's just some Angels stink on him. I don't know. He's interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Producer Lenny's going to do some research here. I want to say he's under club control for another couple of years. Let me pop into this. But anyway, he's a 27-year-old. He's got good arm talent, of course. He could, when things are going well, he's a solid playoff caliber, maybe like a number 3 starter. You know what I mean? Let's see. Fangraphs has this 27-year-old. He is a free agent after the 2028 season. So it would be the rest of this year plus 2 seasons. I'd be intrigued by a trade like that, but that probably says more about how I feel about Taiit than how I feel about Detmers, I want to think.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
That seems like an overpay. I mean, if you're going to enter, if you're going to deal away Taiit, you need a guy who's got the postseason experience and has more than just a year of control. And right now, it sounds like the Mariners are shopping Luis Castillo, who's been there, done that. He's had a tough year, but they're willing to shop him. So that's where I'd send Taiit. Detmers, I mean, it's an ebb and flow for him. You really don't know, and part of that is probably just being in the Angel system for so long, and you don't really know how that's going to play out. But, I wouldn't rule him out, especially just because you just need whoever you can get as a starter, and he's a decent option, but just wouldn't be my go-to.
That's fair. I think that's fair to say. You brought up Luis Castillo. The Twins have had interest in Luis Castillo in recent years. That has been buzzed about. Maybe Derek Falvey was a huge Luis Castillo guy, and Jeremy Zoll isn't so much. Maybe it was the other way around. Maybe there are some people in the front office who really liked him, and Falvey ultimately put the kibosh on it. But Luis Castillo does intrigue me. He's a 33-year-old. Recently a front end starting pitcher. Like he secured a 5-year, $125 million contract a few years ago, and like you said, not a great year this year. I think his ERA is 4.5, somewhere around there. Kind of up and down. I would be intrigued. There's something about the idea of adding a veteran starting pitcher that could reasonably start a playoff game and is controlled for at least 2 years. I would love to see a rotation next year that is highlighted by Joe Ryan, this veteran pitcher, Pablo Lopez, Taj Bradley, and then Prelip Rojas, the depth that we have there. That could be fun. That intrigues me depending on the price tag. I know that it was reported that the Mariners said that they would be willing to eat a little bit of contract money for Luis Castillo.
Yeah.
He is 33 years old. You'd be paying, without any help from the Mariners, he's going to be making $21.6 million next year, the final year of that contract. There is a vesting option in 2028. If he throws 180 innings pitched in 2027. But you know what? If there's going to be a little bit of a lockout in 2027 that eats into the odds of that 2028 option vesting, that is intriguing to me. I don't know, man. I would love the idea of them bringing in somebody like Luis Castillo, just an electric arm when things are going well. He doesn't quite have the strikeout stuff necessarily that he used to, but when I watch some of his starts, even with some of the shakiness this year, he does seem to be one of those guys that is like accumulating a wealth of like knowledge as a veteran starting pitcher, of knowing how to pitch even with kind of lesser stuff than he maybe had when he was 26, 27 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's worth it just because it's only one more year of team control with that contract, and I'd like 2, because if it proves to be, he's just cooked and he's not going to be the same pitcher ever again, then you aren't committed to him beyond next season, and that could even be shortened and you're paying him less. So, that kind of works out. I would say he's definitely worth pursuing in this current trade market, but I don't know if I would maybe I would give Taiit up for him. I already did say that, but anyway, you know what I'm getting at. I think it's more worth it than Detmers in the long run.
Mustachio Steve says Castillo's intriguing as a 4 or 5 starter, but I don't know if that's just my memory of who he has been in the past. And you know what? That's fair, and that's something that I suffer from. Sometimes I like these pitchers or I like these players, and I'm trying to I'm removed from reality of where they are currently at. But at the same time, I do think that he would be an improvement over what they are currently pegged to have in that 5 slot, especially with some of the injuries, with Prelip, likely needing to be either shut down or moved to the bullpen. Yeah.
I
All
will
right.
also add this little anecdote. If they do get him, the Twins will be the only team to have both Luis Castillos play for them in MLB history. So if just another little tidbit, a reason to go after him. So
you know what? Bring the old one back too. I liked watching him play. That's fine.
I don't know. He's got to work on some pop flies.
Yeah, definitely. After that Mets fiasco. Mustachio Steve added, I feel like Pablo would love adding Luis Castillo. Yeah, I think who wouldn't at this point? I think that would be fun. But like I said, I like the idea of, especially with these young hitters that are coming up and are going to be in the picture for the next couple of years, I'm okay investing a little bit more money into the rotation. You know what I mean? Pablo's going to be making 22, 23 next year. If Joe Ryan sticks around, he'll likely be making 7 digits, right? 15, somewhere around there, depending on how the rest of this season goes. Likely he's in for a good raise like that. Paying another pitcher somewhere in the 20 million range, I don't think is crazy necessarily, especially if they do want to, climb through this window of contention that they have right now. So it's going to be interesting. Going to be very, very interesting. Okay. How about we dive into some of the mock trades that we were given online here? Let me pull these up. All right. Aiden, friend of the podcast, said Freddie Peralta of the Mets for Brandon Winokur straight up. So those of you who maybe aren't super familiar with Brandon Winokur, he is a recently promoted infielder, infield/outfielder. Really exciting kind of raw stuff in his swing. Hits the ball pretty hard, but has had kind of an up and down minor league career. But I'm mostly a Brandon Winokur Bobo. He currently lands, I want to say, in Twins dailies. I want to say he's like their 12th or 13th ranked prospects for what it's worth. Other lists, Fangraphs had him at 15 coming into the year. Who knows where he's at after this year's draft class. But Brandon Winokur for Freddie Peralta. I'm intrigued by that caliber of trade, but that one specifically, I guess I'm not positive about. Freddie Peralta is going to be a free agent after this year, if I'm not mistaken. An exciting arm, no doubt. If you've watched Brewers games over the last few years, when he is on, he is absolutely an ace caliber starting pitcher. This year with the Mets, his age 30 season. Let's see. Oh, did he sign a big deal? Did I miss that?
Peralta?
Oh, he signed that with the Brewers a while ago.
No, he's a free agent after this year, no matter what.
That's right. Okay. So this year he has a 4.99 ERA with the Mets, 4.47 FIP, fielding independent pitching. His strikeout stuff, about 9 strikeouts per 9. His walks have gone up a little bit. For Brandon Winokur, that's probably going to be kind of, from the Mets, that might seem like an underpay. You know what I mean? Like, they probably don't know a lot of the specifics about Brandon Winokur. They just know him as a guy who recently made it to Double-A. I don't know. I could see that caliber of trade, but I don't know. I think if the Twins trade for a starting pitcher of Freddie Peralta's caliber, it's going to be somebody with multiple years of control, or it's going to be a further down the rotation guy for the rest of this year if it's a pure rental. That's just my speculation. What do you think?
I don't think Peralta's worth going after this deadline. Even the Mets are eager to move him, just with how bad he's been. And you want to save Winokur. Yeah, you want to save Winokur for something better, and I think I'm comfortable moving him just because I feel pretty strong about who they have in terms of utility guys, and also Winokur's primary position, third base, shortstop, center field, that they don't really have room for him once he gets closer and gets up to AAA. I mean, we've already seen that happen today. I mean, Kalai Rosario got a few weeks up at AAA, didn't get much playing time because it's just stacked with outfielders out there, and he just got sent back down to AA today. So I think you got to sell high on some of these guys, and Winokur having a hot run at AA before the deadline, and who knows if that's sustainable, but I mean, teams are going to want that, and that's
Yeah.
depth you can trade away from. So you might as well cash in Winokur's value right now. What should it be for Peralta? No, I think the other Mets pitcher who's worth going for that's under another year of team control is not a starter, but Luke Weaver. I mean, he's had a phenomenal year. I think
Just wait. We have that coming up in a proposal.
Okay. But I think that's where, if you're going to make that trade with the Mets, and if you're going to move Winokur there, that's who you got to go after, not Freddie Peralta.
Okay. Very interesting. We had Tom Froming on the pod a couple episodes ago. He made a good point that, yes, the Twins have a really good farm system, and you want your team to have a perennially good farm system, but you don't want it to be top 5 all the time, every single year, because that means that you're hoarding these prospects, and you're missing out on the opportunity to cash in on them sometimes. Cashing in doesn't mean that you have to trade your entire farm for whoever for just the rest of this year. You know what I mean? And that's something that we didn't see a ton of from Derek Falvey when he was kind of taking the helm here of cashing in on some of these prospects. We saw a few of them, we saw the Tyler Malley deal where they sent Spencer Steer and Christian Encarnacion Strand, but look at both of those players now.
Steer's actually, he's
solid.
He's not hitting all-star caliber numbers, but he's an everyday player for them, and Encarnacion Strand washed out with him.
Right, exactly. But remember, at the time of that trade, people were like, "Oh, Encarnacion Strand, he's had a super meteoric rise. He's gone up a couple levels. He's got this big power. They're gonna really miss him." Turns out that doesn't always happen. That sort of maybe he latches on somewhere and he proves us wrong. I don't know. But I would like to see them cash in on some prospects, even if it stings in the moment a little bit. But they do have to do their homework and they have to make the right moves. Real quick before we get to more of those mock trade proposals, Matt says, any chance Twins trade Trevor Larnach? Could be. I think that if they do decide to any sort of soft sell or any two-step, that as Bonus likes to call it, where they maybe make a couple trades and they bring in some reinforcements, Larnach could be on the table just because they have some guys that are ready to take over there, and he's really increased his value since the start of this year. He's been one of the team's best hitters. With that said, they might not want to trade that. They might not want to move off from Trevor Larnach, who is controllable via arbitration for one more year after the season. So I don't know. I could see it for the right price. I don't see them going out and being like, highest bidder for Trevor Larnach gets him. I think that it would have to be the right move. It'd have to be a good baseball move.
I think this team has managed to know how to play without Ryan Jeffers. I don't know if they can. I don't know who's going to hit lead off on a consistent basis if they trade Trevor Larnach. I mean, Austin Martin against lefties, sure, but I think they've made a really good tandem with those two as a platoon right now. That, I mean, yes, you could cash him in, but look how hard it's been to move him up till this point.
Yeah.
So I think, Jeffers is the only one I see as a realistic possibility, just because it's more of a premium position where the high value is just much more needed, whereas other outfielders will be available for, who are performing about the same caliber. And most teams probably want a left fielder who can hit for more power than Larnach has this year. And that's no discredit to the work he's put in, and the results are showing. And again, we do have a lot more outfield depth here with the Twins. I mean, Hendry Mendez, Walker Jenkins, Gabriel Gonzalez, all three solid hitters who could possibly show up in left field. But do we want to rush them? Probably not. So trying to bring them into the pennant race too early could show more weaknesses than not. And I think you just run with Larnach while you can and maybe revisit that in November. And of course,
you brought up Trevor, or somebody here brought up Trevor Larnach. We do have to play everybody's favorite game. Is Trevor Larnach still a Twin? And as of July 27th at 7:31 p.m., yes, Trevor Larnach is still a Twin.
Let me double check Twitter just in case that's changed. No, it hasn't, but I'm going to look anyway.
Yep. This is a good point from Don Quixote's Ghost here. Larnach current salary is near $5 million. Are you going to pay him $8 million when next season starts? It's a good question. It's also a question that we don't need to answer right now. If they don't think he's worth that, they don't have to pay him that. They could try to trade him in the offseason. They could non-tender him if they want to. So it is a good point, though, just about being realistic about Trevor Larnach's value and what you expect from him over the rest of his contract here. Okay, let's go back to some of these mock trades here. We brought up Reed Detmers of Los Angeles Angels. Tony Johnson on Twitter says Reed Detmers for Riley Quick and Hendry Mendez. Riley Quick, let's see, is a second-round draft pick of the Twins last year.
He was a comp B.
Okay.
2025, yep.
Anyway, a high draft pick, and he has had a meteoric rise since making his debut in Pro Ball this year. He is currently at AA, I want to say.
Yeah, he's at AA.
He's been electric. He's been so good. Twins Daily currently has him as their best pitching prospect, and I think most lists would probably agree that by the end of this year, he's going to be probably up there in their top, I would say in the 5 to 10 range of prospects and their best pitching prospect. Like you said, depends on what you feel about Reed Detmers. I feel a little bit apprehensive about including our best pitching prospect, who's had an incredible debut and has shown just electric raw stuff with that arm. Theo, what do you think about sending Riley Quick and Hendry Mendez? Let's not forget about that. He's been really good too. He's been a fun acquisition since last season as well. But I don't see that trade necessarily. But that's the caliber of player that the Angels are probably going to be asking for in these trades.
Yeah, I would rather see both of them flourish in a Twins uniform and go to the Angels and have the Angels experience happen to them. I mean, no. You're not trading away Quick. Mendez has been phenomenal since he got acquired here, and he is probably the best pure hitter they have in the farm system. And to get him for just a year of Harrison Bader, you cannot trade away Mendez.
Nice trade, Falvey.
That is a great trade value, seriously. Rework your prospects on that one. That's, those two guys in my mind are untouchable.
Like I said, I wouldn't doubt if that's kind of like a beginning offer from the Angels, and then you do a rebuttal and you send them something more reasonable than that. Okay. Flab on Twitter says Bailey Ober to the Boston Red Sox for Jarren Duran. I am not a huge Jarren Duran fan myself due to off the field antics. I know that that's not a good enough reason to not talk about these sort of moves by any means. I also just don't think that the Red Sox would do that either. They've got some pretty young pitching that's coming up that should be pretty exciting. Bailey Ober, as much as we like watching him, and I certainly do, I'm guessing most teams around the league would say it's kind of a question mark right now. The dude is throwing 88, 89 miles per hour, is 30 years old or approaching 30 years old.
Yeah, he's 30.
Just coming off an injury. Not to say that he doesn't have any value, but I do think it's more of a question mark right now about what that value looks like. And Jarren Duran, starting to pick things up, I want to say, with the bat. I'm going to do some research here. Was having a pretty dreadful season early on. I don't know. He's not my favorite Duran. Let's just say that. And the Twins have a lot of outfielders. He's another left-handed outfielder. He's 29 years old. He is a free agent after 2028. So you're getting a few years of club control there. I don't think the Red Sox make that deal. He's currently batting 198. Not great. He has a 61 WRC plus, meaning he's 39% worse than a league average hitter this year. A fun little challenge trade, but you don't see too many of those, and for good reason, I think. I don't know if I see that one happening. What do you think about that, Theo?
Yeah, that one might be more far out than the last one. They don't need another outfielder, and they need as much starting pitching depth as they can carry right now. Simple as that.
Fair enough. All right. Last one we had on Twitter here. I'm pulling it up. Oh, we talked about Jeffers going to the Yankees and in return getting Ben Hess, one of their prospects. So Carter Nelson on Twitter asks Jeffers to New York for Hess and Rivas. I'm not sure about Rivas. I'm pulling up their prospects list here. But as a starting point, like we said, Ben Hess for Ryan Jeffers, I can kind of see that. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about Rivas or who that is. Maybe that's on me. Maybe
Xavier
that's a blind spot.
Rivas is a left-handed pitcher at their AA affiliate. He's having a
Okay.
solid year. ERA just north of 4, whips 1.13. Opponent's average is $1.73. Walks are more of the issue, and working on command. I don't hate it. It's better than Jim
Yeah.
Bowden. I mean, it's
Yeah. It's probably
there's that
pretty
much.
fair. It's these are kind of how the
That
trades that. What do
Yeah,
you think?
that's not that bad, especially because you might want another left-handed pitching prospect aside from Dason Hill to kind of run out there and see what they
Sure.
have. So that has probably been my favorite of the ones that you have brought up so far.
Okay. All right, so that one takes the cake for now. I think when I put this out on Twitter, I said the best submission is going to get a bootleg Tony Batista jersey from Greg's personal collection. So we'll see. Carter, you might be in the front runner for that jersey, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, all four of you, for sending in those ideas. They're fun to talk about here. I put this out into the forums in Twins Daily as well, hoping to get some responses. We got one from Corey Engelhardt, friend of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
His a little far-fetched, I would say, but he said, I'd love to move Trevor Larnach in a deal that brings back a true middle-of-the-order type bat. Before I read the rest of this, Trevor Larnach is not going to do that on his own. They would likely need to add something to that to bring a true middle-of-the-order bat. He says maybe something like Larnach plus that could bring back Isaac Paredes from the Astros. I don't know if Houston would want Larnach if they're trading Paredes, but he's also rumored to be available. We did hear about some availability for Paredes, but that was also before their other infielders were injured. I don't know if I see a fit there necessarily. I don't know if the Twins necessarily are going to be able to find a middle of the order bat on the trade block here that really matches up with them. But I like the creativity. Hey, that'd be fun. Sign me up for it, Corey. That would be excellent if the Twins could swap Trevor Larnach, who is a good top of the order hitter, for a middle of the order bat. But I just don't see that shaking out necessarily. But thanks for the submission. Appreciate that. All right, my friends. Any other trade news and tidbits? Do you have any predictions? Do you have any players off the top of
You
your
mentioned
head?
Luke Weaver
Yes.
proposition. Yeah.
Yes.
You want to get back to that one?
Yes, I might have lost it, but somebody mentioned trading for Luke Weaver of the New York Mets, formerly the New York Yankees. Really good setup guy. I haven't seen how his numbers are looking this year, but he's still.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, he's still a premier arm. In the back. He's just signed a 2-year, 3-year contract?
2-year deal, and it's going to be heavier on I think 10 or 11 million next year because it's 22 million and it's lighter on the first year than the second year. Yeah, he's probably my number one relief target for the Twins because he fits that mold of go big or go home in terms of relievers out there. The Mets definitely want to cash in on him right now and probably want to at least alleviate him off the payroll if they can, just downsize a little bit. And if they get him, 8th inning's all his. You can alleviate the expectations for Andrew Morris going down the stretch. Not that he hasn't pitched great, but we just don't know how his body's going to be responding over the next 2 months.
Exactly.
So you want to alleviate that a little bit, and I think Gomez has fit really well in the closer role right now. They finally made a closer video for him as he comes out, as we saw on Saturday nights. So why take that away from him? So I think, you go out, you get Luke Weaver, maybe you send Winokur, another top prospect. I think maybe even Charlie Soto.
Could be. It's going to be tough to market him.
It's going to be tough to move him, but I think if you can find the right deal, you should move him. And not really quick. But I think he's definitely the top relief arm they should be pursuing, even with a little more money. But as we know, they are going to lose some games next season, and that 10, 11 million could go under the 10 million mark, depending on when opening day is. So there is that. I think he's definitely the top relief arm they should be going for. And then I also did write something up on zone coverage of just 3 names to keep an eye on. He's number one. Another reliever, Jason Adam with the Padres long ago, was acquired for Josh Willingham from the Kansas City Royals back in 2014. He's been one of the top arms in all of baseball since 2022 in just terms of relief appearances. One of the lowest ERAs, probably the lowest, would be the lowest qualifying if it weren't for a certain closer in Cleveland and his gambling issues. But, we don't need to touch that here. He's a free agent after this year. You probably don't have to pay as high a premium as you would for Weaver. I think, Padres definitely need some outfield help, especially in left field. So an easy proposition there is trade Kalai Rosario for Jason Adam and maybe add another prospect who's not top 30, but just another one to sweeten it up just because he's such a good arm. And, you could possibly be getting the last 2 great months of Jason Adam because I think he's going to be 34 next year. So you might as well pursue him. I think the Padres, the National League playoff picture is, a little more clear on like who has a chance to still be in this versus who doesn't. And the Padres have been sinking a little more lately. So that's who I would propose on that front in terms of just adding another guy so that, you can interchange and you have, Weaver and Adam available. So it's not Morris and Gomez every single night. It's a close game.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Padres are 500, but yeah. I think they should, if they're willing to trade Mason Miller, they should also trade another reliever who's going to be a free agent
at that point. At that point, you got to think. All right, I have 3 names of veteran relief pitchers, and I want your quick and dirty thoughts on them. Okay, first one I have here, Kenley Jansen of the Detroit Tigers. If they continue to slip out of contention and they decide to trade Tarek Skubal, could we see them try to move Kenley Jansen, who has a 3.90 ERA? Concerning underlying numbers, he's walking way more this year. He's got, let me look at the rate here, but he's also striking out 10 guys per 9. He is owed probably like $3 million for the rest of this year. I think he signed a 1-year, $11 million contract with the Tigers. That intrigues me, especially because the probably wouldn't cost that much, I wouldn't think. 26.7% strikeout rate. We'll take that in this bullpen. I absolutely would. 14.7% walk rate. Concerning. But lower cost, you would have to think. He is like 38 years old. What would you think about Kenley Jansen just real quick?
I mean, I would love to see him record save number 500 in a Twins uniform. That would be a fantastic thing to cover.
Yeah.
That's my selfish thing. I did have one other name I didn't bring up, and it is a Tiger. I think if you're going to make it to trade with the Tigers, you got to get one of their starters, and not Tarek Skubal, but Casey Mize, because he's a free agent and he's been pitching really well. And you will potentially have to trade someone like Taillon for him, but that's a free agent to be someone who could stabilize the rotation for the time being, and someone you're not committed to in 2027, so you don't have to worry about trying to squeeze Pablo and everyone else who's going to be coming back healthy next year.
That's exciting. That would be fun to see for sure. Casey Mize.
So I'm more back to Jansen. I'm more like 40-60. Yeah, go get him. But also, he's old. He's walking a lot of guys. I think if they let him just be the closer, that would be fantastic, and that'd be super cool to see. But I don't think he's that high up.
Next one I have here, in addition for the bullpen, old friend Emilio Pagan. What do you think about him? He just came back from an injury, isn't pitching particularly well this season. He has a $10 million player option, which he will likely pick up for next year, just based off his injuries this year and the mixed performance that he's had. So would you trade for Emilio Pagan, depending on the package?
I don't think he's going to have a better year in a Twins uniform than he had in 2023. And even that was off to a bad start. Chad, I think we could probably be all in agreement of let's not revisit Emilio Pagan.
I don't know if we're all in agreement, man. I could see it happening. I think it could be fun. He was good for the Twins in 2023. He was bad for them in 20, right? There's 1 year where he was quite bad.
2022, and it was like all of the walk-offs Cleveland had against them.
And that's worth something.
Pagan. Well, they are at least done with the road games in Cleveland for this year. There is that. True.
That's true.
But yeah, no, I'd rather have Kenley Jansen than Emilio Pagan.
Okay, all right. So you have Kenley first, and then Pagan second on your pecking order of these options. The last one here would cost a little bit more in prospect capital and in the money that he is owed. But what would you think about the Twins bringing in Tyler Rogers from the Toronto Blue Jays, the twin brother of Taylor Rogers, and finally fulfilling the prophecy of the Minnesota Twins and bringing a pair of twins to pitch for them? How exciting would that be? Also, Tyler Rogers is a good pitcher too. He, a former All-Star, and he's maybe having the best season of his career this year. He's got a 1.54 ERA, not striking out a lot of guys, but that's never been his game as the wonky kind of sidearm or submarine pitcher. He would be your instant closer. He would be pair him with his brother and with Yoendris Gomez and Andrew Morris and who knows, maybe Connor Prelip for September in the bullpen. That would be so exciting to me. So he signed a 3-year, $37 million contract that runs through 2028. So he's owed just over $12 million for next year and 2028. I don't know, man. I would be intrigued. Depending on what the package is, I wouldn't send one of the Twins' top 5 prospects or anything like that. But
no.
It would be exciting to send a package to the Blue Jays, who are increasingly looking like they're going to be sellers at this deadline. I don't know if it's happening for them this year. I would be intrigued. What do you think about trading for Tyler Rogers?
I mean, we need to finally have some Twins on the Twins, and I think it would be so funny if they put both of their lockers next to each other in the clubhouse, and just for the fun of it, both have them had the same number for one day and see if we can figure it out. Now, reporter last year couldn't even tell the difference between James Outman and Ryan Fitzgerald, who were made fun of for being baseball twins. So let's see what it would happen if we had some real twins in the clubhouse and we had some fun with it.
They're not. I would love it. Not just. I want to say they're like
they're identical.
Twins. Identical mirror twins. Yeah.
The only way you can tell a difference between them is, which hand they throw with. So that would be the giveaway.
What side of the glove their thumb is.
I mean, it's just so hard to try to work a deal. I think with like one extra year of team control, that's a lot reasonable. But this team has never, since Addison Reed, they have not had a reliever under contract for that amount of money or north of that for more than one season. So I think that's going to be a harder one to move. I would love it. I mean, if we're going to get real creative with it, why don't we just solve 2 problems in one and bring Louis Varland back and try to
Why not? Throw him in. Throw him in the file. Oh, that would be – imagine what it would actually take to start that conversation. That would be wild. Oh, man. Okay, well, I'm getting all giddy. I'm getting giddy from excitement here. What do you think, dude? Should we play a quick game of blind lineup before we take off?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. Let me see if I can pull up my screen here. And okay, Theo. So for those of you who don't know, we are going to play blind. Is it showing? Let's see. Oh,
it's making its way.
Got it. All right. So for those of you who don't know how to play blind lineup, I give Theo 9 different Twins or former Twins players. He has to tell me where they fit into a batting order and defensively what position they should be playing. Okay. So Theo, your first player is Orlando Cabrera.
Oh, that is my shortstop batting second.
Batting second, shortstop. Orlando Cabrera.
And for those who don't remember, definitely go look up his run with the Twins in 2009. It was really great. And
he was a good trade acquisition. He was just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of their best trade deadlines in recent history for sure.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay, your next player is Shannon Stewart.
Shannon Stewart. Well, we're going to put him in left field. I want to bat him lead off. Yeah, if we're talking 2003, Shannon Stewart, I definitely want to bat him lead off.
All right, left field. We have Stewart leading off. He was also another fun run. Mission accomplished in that trade. He was what they call it? Soul Patrol, right? Him and Torrey Hunter and Jock Jones.
Jock Jones, yep. LaTroy Hawkins still has a Soul Patrol shirt he wears around the Twins clubhouse. That's
really
fact. I have yet to tell him I like the shirt, but I've seen him wear it, and it's fun to see that.
Cool. I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Theo, your next player is one of Greg's favorites, Brett Boone.
We'll put him at second base, bat him seventh.
Second base, batting seventh. That is big dog Brett Boone. All right. Your next player is Tyler Austin.
Seriously?
Yeah, it is. Hey, I don't make it up, dude.
Yeah, you do. DH at batting eighth.
All right. DH. Tyler Austin. He's the bruiser. You're just there for if we need somebody to charge the mound. Your next player is James Outman.
Bench. I can understand the theme you're doing here, so
right.
I really need to think about who you might also bring up. So we'll probably put Outman batting ninth for sure.
Okay. And where would you like him playing in the field?
I think center field, because I saw him play too much bad defense in right field last year.
Yeah, I saw him playing some not great stuff in center either, though. Okay, next player, Eduardo Tait. Maybe that's a little easier for you.
Catcher batting sixth.
All right. Catcher batting sixth. All right. Okay, your next player is Hendry Mendez.
Ooh, yeah, I love this one. We will put him in right field and have him bat third.
Okay, right field. You like what you've seen from him in right field?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think he can play there pretty solid.
Pretty
so
reasonably. All right. Okay, down to two here, Theo. Your next player is Logan Forsythe.
Do I have a third baseman? No, I don't. Let's put him there and bat him fifth.
All right.
He had a decent run after that
at
deadline.
one point.
He wasn't terrible return. I mean, he didn't come back for 2019, but he was pretty good down the stretch.
So that means who are
my first base cleanup hitter is
Willians Astudillo. Unbelievable! Can't believe you.
That is exactly where I want him. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we want him back. Bring him home. Home. All right, Theo. Good job. That is a fun little lineup. So we have Shannon Stewart leading off in left field. We have batting second at shortstop is Orlando Cabrera. Batting third in right field is Hendry Mendez. Batting cleanup at first base is Willians Astudillo. Batting fifth at third base is Logan Forsythe. Batting sixth catching is Eduardo Tait. Batting seventh at second base is Brett Boone. Batting eighth at designated hitters Tyler Austin. And batting ninth in center field is old James Outman. Well, I think you did a really good job with that, Theo. Congratulations. Yeah. You win this round. Wonderful work.
I mean, I would have preferred a better option for DH in center field, but hey, yeah, so I appreciate the theme.
Okay, so here's the deal. We're going to try to land this plane here. Before we do, we want to talk about our walk-off question, which is, what should the Twins Off Daily podcast be looking to acquire at this year's deadline? Theo, any ideas? I'm thinking that we should try to acquire maybe some better studio equipment, maybe an actual studio. I'm blazing up here in my office with no air conditioning.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to acquire. I'm going to trade Cody for a box unit air conditioner that I can put in my office.
Yeah, I was just going to say acquire a co-host who can show up every week. That is not Comrade Cody.
Cody.
Put him on the trading block.
Put him on the block. Let's see what we can get for him. We'll trade him for Clint Frazier and Miguel Andujar, and that'll be the way it goes. All right.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, please make sure you check out Theo's awesome work that he's whipping up at Zone Coverage. We love seeing him at the ballpark. If you're walking by the press box, make sure you say hey to him. And thank you very much, Theo, for joining the podcast. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
We will see you next time. We just so you guys know, we will probably do an episode next Monday, or we'll record it on Sunday for Monday, because Monday is the trade deadline after all, but the Twins are not playing that day. Diamond Centric is also going to be doing a live stream during the hours that are leading up to the trade deadline on Monday afternoon. Would love to have you join for that. Really fun conversation. Let us know your instant reaction. It was pretty wild last year when we did a Twins Daily live stream.
It's going to be hard to top that. Yeah.
But that's the thing with Diamond Centric. We're going to be talking about any Twins trades, but also league wide, any other moves that that are piquing our fancy here. So, on behalf of Greg and Cody, who could not make it today, and our dear friend Theo, thanks again for joining. I am your host, Sweet Lou. Thanks for joining the Twins Off Daily podcast, and stay sweet, everybody.